But I like Sailor Moon infinitely more than any character in the Spider-Verse movies. Why be easy when you can just die? Woo! Wow, I'm Chewy Mew, and welcome to my channel, but more specifically, welcome to another Chewy Mew video, where today I'm going to be drinking some water, but that's not it. I'm actually going to be doing a video, or spoilers, I'm making a video right now. It's actually 4 p.m. as well. No, I'm making a video that is a versus video between two figures that I like, and that is the SH Figuarts Sailor Moon, original animation color. And then we have the Hasbro Marvel Legends Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, according to this package. Spider-Gwen. So you might be thinking, dude, why are you comparing these two? They're nothing alike. And yeah, actually, they have a lot of stuff in common. They're both girls, obviously. They both have blue eyes, blonde hair. They both have white, red, and pink, or white, blue, and pink on their costume. This Sailor Moon figure does not have pink, but her manga version does have pink, so, I mean, it does count. They both have powers. They both come with interchangeable accessories, and they both have roots in comic books. But yeah, so they do have a lot of stuff in common, and also I like both of these figures, and so I'm going to be comparing these two to see which one's better. Spoilers, it's obviously Sailor Moon. I'm going to move Sailor Moon out of the way so I don't knock her over, or my camera, whoop-de-doo. So the Marvel Legends retro style packaging is what they used for the Across the Spider-Verse figures. And one thing I just noticed just looking at it, you can see right here, her hand is on her hip. Her left hand is on her hip. You can see the way the fingers are shaped. They're kind of like in this kind of pose, kind of like that to hold her hip. And the hand they used is the left hand, which the left hand is not in that kind of shape. So I mean, the product shot is technically falsely advertising a hand that she comes with, even though she doesn't. The right hand looks pretty accurate. The Toy Biz 90s Spider-Man packaging, which I think looks pretty cool, but I don't really feel like it works here considering these characters aren't retro. I'm pretty sure this is a picture of the actual figure. I don't know for sure, but regardless, it looks cool. You get a real image of, I'm assuming, someplace in Japan. We're not talking about movies or the shows. I will say one more thing movie related, and that is that I like Sailor Moon infinitely more than any character in the Spider-Verse movies. It's just true. I don't like them as much as Sailor Moon. Yeah, that's just how it works. So, as far as accessories go as well, let's take a look at the accessories here. And you get to open up this box. It is windowless, which Hasbro people complain about. To me, it's not really a big deal, especially when it's like a collector grade like this and not something you're going to find at Walmart, you know. And then you can see here they give you instructions of how to play with the toy in case you somehow can't figure that out. Sailor Moon is actually holding one of her wands. I think it's called, I think they call it the moon stick. I think that's the actual name for it, which sounds kind of dumb. When they say it, when they're speaking English with a Japanese accent, it sounds cooler. But you get 5 interchangeable faces here in total, including the one she has. You get 10 hands. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then her tiara here that she throws actually has an additional hand on it. Oops. And then you get like 2 of her wands, the tiara, like I said, and then you get her cat Luna, which the package actually says she has a posable head and tail, which is pretty cool. And she also comes with a display stand, so, you know, it's over already. She wins by default, because Marvel Legends don't come with a display stand, considering they don't stand too good. I mean, yeah, of course she's going to stand too good. And as far as the accessories Spider-Gwen comes with, she comes with 2 heads, the, hoodie dropped down, and then 4 total hands, which... they didn't even complete the sets of hands, though. You know, like you only get you don't get the full. You only get 1 whipping hand, 1 fist hand. Then you get the 2 grabbing hands that on the back of the box are incorrect. And then with Sailor Moon, you get 2 wall crawling hands. You get 2 fist hands, 1 fist hand that holds her weapon. You get a whipping hand. You get a sort of pointing piece, and then a sort of grabbing weapon. I don't remember what all of these hands are for, but they're for the different poses she does in the show. Like you can see here, that's for doing her point thing where she says, "In the name of the moon, I'll punish you." As far as the accuracy, both of them look incredibly accurate to what they do in the source material. If anything, Sailor Moon does look a little more accurate, considering she just looks exactly like the 90s anime, just as a figure. The civilian head is kind of more the unmasked head is kind of more for hanging out. But you know, in the perfect world, Hasbro would. You know, honestly, they could do the same thing SH Figuarts did, where you pop off half the face and swap it, which I think is pretty it's a pretty intuitive thing that SH Figuarts did. I also like these packages because they're designed to hold the accessories here. These ones, if you remove the piece of tape, they start flopping around. So as far as articulation goes, Spider-Gwen is able to look up that high, which is more than Sailor Moon can. Sailor Moon can look up that high, which is not really much. Sailor Moon can look all the way down. Spider-Gwen can look pretty much all the way down. Sailor Moon also has head pivoting. I'm going to take the wand out of her hand because I feel like I could break it. They are very fragile. That's the issue with these figures. They are kind of fragile. You can tilt the head side to side. Very good. And just, she doesn't basically have like a ball joint. It is a disc hinge sort of neck, or a ball hinge neck that has rotation inside of her head and then in the neck. And then it has like the hinge too. So you have like, you basically get the same amount of movement as you would with a Hasbro ball joint. Just basically different presentation for it. The arms can go up this high, but if you force them, you can get them to go up this high. Sailor Moon's arms are blocked by, they look like shoulder pads, but this is supposed to be part of her costume. It's part of her leotard, but the way the figure's designed, it looks like they're shoulder pads. She can go up this high with her arms. Pretty similar. I rotate all the way around. All figures can rotate their arms all the way around. She doesn't have a bicep swivel, but she kind of does have a similar effect you can do using the upper ball joint, like the ball joint shoulder. She has a bicep swivel, though. And you get double jointed elbows. With Sailor Moon, you get single jointed elbows, which, yeah, Spider-Gwen's are a little bit better. But with Sailor Moon, you have, I mean, it doesn't improve the elbow joint, but you do have basically butterfly joints that allow you to cross her arms. Not completely, though. But you can definitely make her hands touch like this. Like, she could be holding the wand with one hand, or with two hands, which, she doesn't have, if she had two grabbing hands, you could totally hold the wand with two hands. The arms can go back pretty far. It's very good, like, it's a ball joint armpit joint that, you know, offers a ton of movement there, which is, she's so far away from the camera, which is a lot of good movement there. Then you get a ball joint wrist that allows for all sorts of hinging and stuff, angular hinging, rotation, you know, all sorts of good stuff. And you can also remove the hand by just popping them off the ball joint there. The Hasbro figure, you can only hinge, the hand can only hinge in fixed positions. Whereas this Figuarts, you can hinge in diagonals and stuff. You can hinge the wrist down, like, you know, pretty much on par with like what a human joint can do. And they can pop the hands off like this. As far as the ball joint in the torso, both the ball joints in the torso, Spider-Gwen can bend back that far. Sailor Moon can bend back this far. So they can bend back, if we straighten out Sailor Moon's waist, or like, yeah, her, like, the legs, they can bend back pretty similar. Sailor Moon can bend forward. Her skirt or her ribbon does block it, and the legs keep kind of moving forward. They can both bend forward, not really much at all. They can both, oops, I keep moving her legs when I'm trying to move just the torso. You can see both of them can pivot, kind of similar. If anything, Spider-Gwen might be able to pivot more. Sailor Moon does have a rotation here, just like Spider-Gwen does at the torso. Then she has a separate rotation here in, like, the waist, or like the, yeah, like the waist, I guess, and it does pivot there as well. So you do get a bit more hunching forward with having the, basically, two ball joints here. As far as the legs, she can do the, not the splits, but that's how far she can spread her legs. Both of them, if anything, I think Spider-Gwen can bend down, or bend forward, or can split her legs more. You can kick Sailor Moon's leg up this high. You could, that leg kind of falls off, though. When I got it, it was really tight. So I kind of boiled it a bit, and then I sanded it down. I might have sanded it down too much. Let's just use this leg, actually. So she's able to kick up higher, but the skirt kind of blocks it. And technically, she can't kick up higher because, you know, the skirt. They both kick up that high. Sailor Moon can go back. If you use the drop-down hips, she can go back that far, whereas Spider-Gwen can, you know, barely go forward, or barely go back. You get a single bend in the elbow, or single bend in the knee for Sailor Moon, which is not really much less than the double joint elbow over here. And then you don't get a thigh, I mean, you kind of get a thigh rotation that is really tight, and also this leg keeps popping off. I'm just going to use this one here, where you can see you can rotate her leg and stuff. You can see you can rotate the leg here, which is pretty much the same as this. You can rotate this 360, which is useful in some instances. And then you get a foot that goes all the way back like this and all the way forward like this. Sailor looks like, well, her head twisted all the way around. She looks like she died. So the ankles can both kick back pretty much about the same distance. If anything, I think Spider-Gwen can kick back a little bit more. Can both kick up forward about the same. And then Hasbro figures, like pretty much all Hasbro figures, have a ankle pivot, but not having a boot cut makes the ankle pivot not as effective because you don't really have that much movement in just an ankle pivot. But Sailor Moon has a ball joint, so you're able to rotate this to have you can have like an ankle pivot. If we use the ankle pivot, combine that with the spread legs, the farthest you can spread apart her legs while being both feet on the ground, is that with Sailor Moon. And with this one, the feet angle at a weird, they go at a weird angle, so you kind of have to have them sideways like this. But then she doesn't stand at any point. Sailor Moon does balance to make sure she's not leaning on anything. Also, her pigtails kind of offer a little bit more balance there. As you can see, Spider-Gwen does not. Okay, what about like this? Okay, so it seems like that's about as far as you're able to sprint. This is about. I can't speak, but you can see that's as far as you can use the ankle pivots before she starts falling over. Sailor Moon can bend down a lot more, which honestly I don't really feel like that's too useful. Like this kind of movement is too useful for these kind of characters. Also, it's probably because I'm a dude that when I pose a figure, my brain just goes to like doing some kind of masculine pose, you know, like two fists hunched over, legs kind of spread. But these are feminine characters that don't do those kind of poses, especially Sailor Moon. So I'm like, how do you pose a feminine character? You know, like I don't know how to do that, especially if she has like articulation on par with like a male character. How do you properly use all this articulation? What's going on here? Oh no. I don't. The one issue I will say with SJ's Figuarts, which is not really a big deal. I mean, it's a slight issue. Is that a lot of because there's so many joints here, it takes a little bit to actually get them straightened out to not look like they have like a dislocated shoulder or something. But yeah, as far as that goes, the articulation, I'm gonna have to give it to Sailor Moon just because she's able to do more stuff. Like the range of movement that she has is more, and she basically has butterfly joints. If you compare it to like a Hasbro figure, she basically has butterfly joints, kind of on par with like the Retro Spider-Man here, or she basically has the same effect as like this is the same body as the Toy Biz Spider-Man 2 figure. She basically has this kind of movement in the arm, and then she has like basically a boot cut and ankle pivot, she has more articulation than Spider-Gwen here. Spider-Gwen maybe has technically more just because she has double jointed elbows and knees, but as I showed, the double jointed knees on this are not really any better than the single joint elbows on these. They didn't recently make an Eternal Sailor Moon figure. Recently, I say like probably like 5 or 6 months ago. She doesn't have double jointed elbows still, which is kind of unfortunate, or knees, which would have been cool. Maybe she does. I don't know. I actually haven't seen the figure. I haven't seen reviews of it. I just know that it exists. But either way, yeah, so Sailor Moon wins. All the accessories she comes with. SH Figuarts always comes with a bunch of accessories, though. All the accessories, the display stand, both of them look incredibly accurate, though. But yeah, Sailor Moon just wins because, you know, everything else that she comes with. And also, she just looks cuter, too, let's be honest. Okay, let's be honest. Who looks cuter, Sailor Moon or Spider-Gwen? I know nobody leaves comments on these Sailor Moon-themed videos anyway, so I'm not going to ask what do you guys think about this. But what I think is, I like Sailor Moon more. But either way, that's all for that video, or that's all for this video. Let me know what you think about these two figures, although no one's going to leave a comment, though. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Wow.